Hey, Nate, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jason. So happy to be here.
Yeah, excited to have you on. Tell us who you are and what you do.
My name's Nate Friedman. I run a company called TechPro Marketing, which we've been operating in the MSP space, which is managed IT services providers, for the last 8 years. And then over the last 2 years, we've launched a product inside that space called MSP Sites, where we help MSPs get their technology and website set up, add on some coaching and other elements so that they can generate leads without investing in an agency.
So let's kind of start off where you kind of started, where most agencies are, charging high ticket items and working with bigger clients. Is that where you guys kind of started or got to?
Yeah, you recently had Brent Weaver on your podcast, so this will probably come out a few weeks later. So if you go back a few episodes, you guys discussed this $19,237 website proposal that he put out as a lead magnet like 10 years ago. And I downloaded that lead magnet. And for me, it was a big sense of pride to charge $10,000, then charge $20,000, then charge $32,000 for a website and marketing projects. I think for me, what happened was I had a really great client early on, super nice guy, amazing entrepreneur. And I charged $20,000 for the website and then $4,000 for ongoing marketing. And about 3 months into it and $32,000 in for him, he emailed me and he said, Nate, when are we going to generate leads out of this? That kind of was a little bit of a turning point for me.
Yeah. And, talk about when did you decide, or what was the turning point to go from, I want to sell big deals to I want to sell a ton of little deals?
I'm a lot like you, Jason, where I'm an accidental entrepreneur. So I love your story about the parody NSYNC website that got you started.
The in shit.
Yeah, mine was like pretty similar background. And I was in affiliate marketing earlier on in my career. I was selling photo recovery software and just like making affiliate commissions. I had tons of articles on easyandArticles.com. And I really loved like the early days of the internet. I was like one of the tech guys of all my friends as well. And when I first got out of college, I didn't kind of know what to do. And even when I was in college, I didn't know what to do. I didn't realize that like being an online marketer was like an option for a career. So I went to college. I did a degree in accounting. And then when I got out of college, yeah, I know.
That's the only A I got in college, but I sat by a really smart kid.
I got like all A's my freshman year, when it was like the gen ed classes. I was like barely past my senior year. I was so out of my element, but I didn't kind of have the self-confidence to go out and do anything on my own because I was, following the crowd like a lot of people. So I got my first job out of college and it was in an accounting firm. And I was kind of exposed there, where it's like in school, I could a little bit get by, barely scrape by with C's. Like if you're in the professional world, you're just not gonna. I was like a fish out of water. I don't know. I was just completely the wrong person working at an accounting firm. I'm not a person who goes in and that's just not me. I think we know it's not me.
Yeah.
So what happened to me is like when I was working with larger and larger projects in my agency, actually it was getting closer and closer to like this corporate world that I didn't fit into, and I remember at one point I was doing Pardot implementations, and Pardot was a marketing automation software that was owned by Salesforce.
David was a good friend of mine. I couldn't believe when he sold his company when they were losing money.
Okay,
how much money he made.
Very good for him. And but the users of Pardot, these are like the accounting firm I was working at, and I was dealing with like mid-market companies and marketing.
They were all using Salesforce.
Yeah, they were all using
if you're using Salesforce, you're a big company.
But I'm more of like the end shit website designer. Do you know what I mean? So like it just wasn't the right fit for me. And even though I kind of developed those skills, I wasn't having a great relationship with my clients. I always felt like I was back in school. I felt like I was back at my first job in an accounting firm, and I was putting on like a kind of a facade a little bit for who I was.
So
So,
imposter
yeah.
syndrome.
What syndrome?
Did you have imposter syndrome in these?
I think imposter syndrome would be putting it lightly. I would say
Really?
I was an imposter, and
Okay.
so
But didn't you realize that, because I went through the same thing, right?
yeah.
When I would, I'd be in meetings with like Coca-Cola or,
Mhm.
Singular, or well, AT&T now, these biggest companies in the world. And I was in my 20s at the time. So
Mhm.
yeah, but the internet was so new, right?
Yeah.
And what I started realizing was the CMOs of like Aflac and all these companies, they weren't super marketers. They were
Yeah.
really good managers and they could manage a team, and they wanted to find the right people. So as soon as I realized that, I was like, all right, like, because they were the dumbest marketers. So,
Yeah.
some of these people, like, I remember I was in a Coca-Cola meeting and they were like, I don't like this. I'm like, well, you're a fat old white guy. You're not going to get this urban young campaign that we set up.
Yeah. So I think you were probably better at handling that situation than I was. And
Okay.
for me, it was like, yes, I'm looking at these people, I'm like, this is so dumb. This makes no sense.
Yeah.
Like when I was doing affiliate marketing and writing articles on ClickBank, it's kind of straightforward. Or writing articles on Easy Articles, it's like, yeah, people click my link, they download the photo recovery software, they get the software, I get the
Yeah.
revenue. It all made perfect sense. And I was like, this is dumb. This makes no sense. And maybe I just couldn't play the game as well, or didn't want to, didn't have it in me. So yeah,
So where were you when you made the switch going to more high volume at a lower
yeah.
price? Where were you in revenue and number of employees?
So there's kind of two steps to it. So the first one was when I decided I'm only going to focus on working with managed IT service providers. And I understood, okay, this is a market of people that are former tech guys, former just like, hey, this is my computer guy. And I've decided to start my own business. So many parallels to the agency space.
Yep.
And these guys had grown their business to 1 to 2 million in annual revenue with like 10 employees. And I was like, these guys are my target market now. I get along with them so well. They probably made, a lot of them made also an N shit website back in the day, such similar stories to agency owners. And we got along so well. And what happened with them is after this kind of $32,000 debacle or whatever, where I didn't generate any leads and I charged all this money, I was like, you know what, I'm going to go back to them and I'm going to go back to the market. And I said, all right, here's my new offer. I sent out a bunch of bomb videos.
I haven't heard that word in a long time.
Yeah, that was awesome. It was like, I don't know if it came out before Loom or maybe after Loom, but lost a lot of steam. But bomb was an awesome tool at the time. My video setup was awful. And, but I sent out these videos and I was like, hey, I know we had a meeting like 6 months ago or a year ago. You turned down my offer for the $20,352 proposal. Well, here's my new proposal. I'm going to charge you $2,000 a month. And I'm just going to help you generate leads. And it might include a website. It might include I don't even know what I'm going to do. I just want to help you generate leads. That got me my early adopter group back then. And I think I had like 5 sign up. And all of a sudden I went from, I must have been a very small agency at that point. Maybe I was like $20,000 monthly revenue with 2 or 3 team members and mostly project based. That got me into this realm of starting to generate, getting to 30,000, 40,000 and growing my team slowly. That was about 7 years ago when I made that choice. Okay. So I grew my agency called TechPro Marketing. Of this ideal customer of $1 to $2 million in annual revenue, I grew that to about 100 clients over 6 or 7 years. All the clients paid around. We slowly raised our price. Now our price is $4,200 a month for that same market, but charging a relatively low monthly fee. And
was that profitable for you?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think I grew just off that. I grew to like 2.5 million. I work really closely with, I don't know if he's been on your podcast yet, a gentleman named John Morris. He's got a company called Fiscal Advocate. He grew his agency to did the opposite of me. He grew his agency to 50 million annual revenue with 50 clients. And that was a really amazing story. But I was actually working with him closely, and I was like, John, like, I feel like I should do the opposite of you. He's like, you should. And you know what? He went to University of Chicago, got an MBA there, really understood like the workings of like kind of traditional agency, you know, where like kind of me and you, Jason, we came from just like the accidental background. He came from the background of like, I'm intentionally becoming an agency and I know how to work with mid-market and Fortune 500 businesses. Well, he encouraged me to go lower market. He's like, no, you should keep going down. I was like, wow, that means so much coming from you, who did the opposite of me. And in some ways, he was like, I actually like that model better. I was like, you're good with the way you did it. And I love, but his financial model is what I really loved. Basically, in growth mode, trying to be at about 15% profit margin. If you're trying to get to about 20%, focusing on about a 50% service margin. And then sales and marketing, he recommends investing heavily into research and development, which kind of led me to my second shift, which is when I went really down the market. And what happened to me after scaling to 100, being pretty profitable, you know, like for me, I am a modest person. I grew up, you know, humble background or whatever. I don't need that much money. So even at that agency with like 2.5 million in annual revenue, do the math at a, 20% profit margin, more than enough. Do you know what I mean? So I felt in there financially. So we had the 100 clients, but what happens when you get to 100 clients? Think industry standard, like it's great if you can have 3% or less monthly churn of your clients who are on your MRR program. Yep. Well, at 100, that's 3. So if you want to grow, then you got to really build out your sales organization. Just to maintain, you need to onboard 3 clients. And as an agency, I think we do something similar to what you guys recommend with going through discovery, a paid consultation before you begin to work with them, putting together a lot of work in the onboarding. Well, that's actually challenging, for us. And it's like, all right, we can keep investing more in our sales and onboarding and our fulfillment, and requires a lot more people and become more of an HR organization. But I was like, at the same time, for every like 10 leads we were getting in, and we're looking for businesses that can afford this $4,200 per month agreement with us plus ad spend, you really need to be at $1 million, $2 million in annual revenue to afford that. Well, actually, most of the businesses that were reaching out to us were like, we're at 300,000 annual revenue. We're at 200,000 annual revenue. So we were like just turning away 75% of the leads that came in, disqualified. I was like, this is like, number one, it's a shame. I was like, number two, they actually need help. Like, and number three, I feel like I can do this without doing this big human resources investment into all the different people that I need. So that was about 2 years ago. It was like, all right, how can we focus on this segment of the market?
And so what did you switch? What did you start doing different to start taking on some of those people rather than charging them $4,000 a month and hoping that they're around the 2 million mark?
So, and this is like a whole nother like learning experience for me. But I first started, I was like, hey, there are all these in my niche, there are all these companies that provide websites for like $150 a month. And there is in the general space within my niche of IT service providers, there's this thought that like you should pay $150 a month for your website. There should be no setup fee. And like that's how websites work in this space. So I was like, I will become a budget website provider. And that was my original plan. So I was looking at all the different platforms, and I was like, Duda's got a system. WP Ultimo was like one of the top choices I was looking at. And then I knew that Webflow has like a system to like deploy based off of a template. And I was like, I'm going to make it so that people can like deploy the site on their own. And they're going to pay like $200 a month. They sign up. They're never even going to meet with us. It's going to be incredible. Like literally, I'm just going to become this software company. But I ended up going with High Level as my tool. And that was like one of the, in retrospect, I'm so happy I did that, because I was like, yeah, you know what? I can add these little bonuses. You also get a social media scheduler. You also get the CRM. I don't know what it does, but I'm going to advertise it. And anyway, then I came out as like this budget website provider at like $200 a month. But like the opposite thing happened to me where I charged the guy $32,000. He's like, Nate, this looks great. Where are the leads? Well, the same thing happened, I would say. So they were like, Nate, this is great. Where are the leads? And then I realized like, okay, whether you're going the high end, whether you're going the low end of the market, you have to provide an end result for your client. Like selling service is never going to be that easy. And even though there are other people in my space doing it, maybe they were profitable, maybe they weren't, I was like, that's not the business that I'm building, no matter what. I don't care how profitable it is. So I had to answer this question. Like, okay, now we're still at like the $200 a month budget. How can I start helping you guys not just have a website, but actually generate leads from your website and drive traffic to your website and then close the deals? And I started adding in all the little elements to it. It's like the first thing I did, I was like, well, with our agency clients, we have a human chat agent on every website. And we literally collect 40% more leads with this like specialized pop-up that we've developed. It's our own intellectual property. It works really well. It's expensive, like for us to operate. It costs us about $50-$60 a month to operate for each client. I was like, I didn't want to include that at $200. Okay, I'll raise the price to $300 and I'll include that. Started getting a little bit better results. And they were like, but Nate, that's good. Now, if people get to my website, yes, I'm getting them. I can get the lead in, but what do I do afterwards? I was like, oh, okay. So now I built out this whole booking funnel within High Level. I integrated everything with Zaps and everything. And I was like, this is getting kind of a lot. I was like, I'm going to charge a setup fee. I added a small setup fee. Then they were like, Nate, the websites aren't unique enough. Like, this is great to get it
all
up
look
quick.
the same.
Yeah, but they all look the same. And I was like, but yeah, I'm trying to do it for cheap. I was like, you know what? Like, they deserve better. So then I was like, I'm taking out the one-click deploy and we're going to deploy them all for you so we can at least make them look amazing because you have a professional designer, but we can still get it done in a day. So I increased the setup fee. And then finally they're like, Nate, but how do I get people to my website? So then I created an online course, the MSP Lead Gen Playbook. I put all that online. And I'm like, Nate, but I'm not watching it. I'm like, okay, now we're going to have office hours twice a week and you're going to come meet with me for twice a week. And then I added all these things in. And like, not only was I started to help the clients more, but I was building a business that I enjoyed so much more. And it's not like a mastermind. It's not but there's potential to add like that kind of stuff in. We ended up doing a live event. Our first year we didn't get as many as we want, but we had like 25 of our clients come out for a live event. We had so much fun together. Every 2 weeks, we do our, twice a week, we do our live coaching calls. Every week, we have more and more people come. I started writing an email every week. And because I'm doing these coaching calls, I'm getting all the feedback. I'm having fun, like writing an email. Yeah, my main list where I'm trying to generate leads. But now I put way more effort into my clients, my paid subscriber list.
I love it. I think I tell everybody in our mastermind that has a particular niche that have finally drilled down and they understand kind of like you do, you should have a mastermind. And here's why that you should. And it should be on an invite only.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, thank you. We're getting ready for it. So this is good.
And then have it where you have some existing clients in there. Like if they're clients of you, they go automatically in there, if they meet a certain level. And then potential ones are in there as well. And you just build this community. But I love what you've done because people just go, I'm going to build a website or I'm going to send. We've used so many crappy agencies over the years, that would try to run ads for us. Yeah. And they're just very linear.
Yep.
They go, we'll send you traffic to your website, but it's not the right traffic. And they're not that strategic advisor that I always tell everybody you have to be for your clients. Yeah. And to look for, like, you should be providing a solution, not a service. And that's what I like that you guys have kind of morphed through of going, here's the problem. Here's the first problem we're going to solve. And then you're always looking for the next problem of going, well, here's the next one. Here's the next one. And then charging a little bit more. Like I was telling you kind of a little pre-show, and then I was like, I got to stop because this is a cool story, because I was making fun of one of my mastermind members. I don't normally do that. And I wasn't making fun of him. And he was just, David sold social media reputation management for a particular industry and did an amazing job. And I would always, because I knew the results that he would deliver, and I knew that they could charge so much more. And I was just looking at it as like a huge potential that he's missing out on, right? Because like I hear, like, I think his margins were, I can't remember at the time, maybe 10 or 15%, which I think is low. Like I always want to go for like 30, 40% margins. And let me kind of back up too. If you're investing heavily into your business, you can go below that, right? Like it's just, that's kind of the benchmark I've always set in my head. But that's what I like about the show, the Mastermind. There's 1,000 ways to do things, and you got to figure out the way that works best for you. And so I would always have him, when we'd get together at a live event, I'd be like, hey, tell everyone, go around, tell us what you do. And then I want you to guess what he charges. And people were like, $2,000, $3,000. He's like $100, $150. Like that was it.
Yeah.
I was like, and everyone was like, mind's blown. But a year later, because he wanted to create this factory, right, of just, huge volume, got over 8 figures, sold for over 8 figures. Now he travels the world with his family, does nothing, right? Like, and that was his goal. I'd be bored shitless.
Yeah.
I hate traveling. But that's what I love about, this kind of market. There's 1,000 ways to do things, like your way. Like, I love that.
Some of the things that I had thought about originally, like it's exactly like that. It's like, well, if I do want to get acquired at a certain point, I think market share, especially for me, I feel like the best multiples I can get is not going to be from private equity. It's actually going to be from someone within my industry that wants to gain more market share.
He's bought by his biggest client.
Yeah. See? Yeah. So having the market share in your industry, the more people in your community, the more customers you have, even at the smallest price point. Yeah. And then we're always finding ways to rate. We are always raising prices too, finding ways to raise prices to existing clients, finding ways to raise prices and make our offer, every time we raise price, we obviously have to make the offer more valuable. Either just verbalizing it better and understanding more of the value that we're doing, or adding something in like the live chat agent. And there's so much more potential. Now it's like we are thinking about doing the Mastermind soon. And it's like, okay, well, now we have 300 clients. Like, this should be easy to get our first group. We can just go right to them, and we've got that first group. We don't have to go out there and do it.
Yeah, and once you can get your clients and prospects talking, I mean, that's why we do 2 live events a year, right? Like we do our one that's just member specific, our agency experience, which is like, very intimate. And, we're riding horses, we're fly fishing, doing fun stuff. But then we have that other event called Elevate, where it's always usually in Phoenix. And we invite our members, but also amazing agency owners that are not in the Mastermind yet that we want to help. And when you can get them together to talking, it's amazing what they can come up with and what they leave with. And then the ones that actually like that, they'll want to join your community. And the thing that has always been missing from right? Like, if I went back to running an agency solely by myself again, I would throw in the Mastermind, because what agency mastery is missing out on is we don't do any services for people, right? So when the Mastermind members are talking, like, you'll find this out. When your Mastermind, your future Mastermind starts talking about problems and, oh, here's a solution, they'll be like, well, how'd you do that? Well, I just had Nate's company did it for me. And then they're like, oh, okay, cool. Right. And it's the easiest new client that you can ever get. So,
yeah. And as I get closer to it, I'm like realizing how maybe stupid I was, where it's like, when you have the Mastermind, yes, you're setting things up, you're creating the environment, but they're actually bringing the content. They bring the content for themselves. You're facilitating. And I think this is where, this is maybe where imposter syndrome is, where I really had imposter syndrome. It's like, no, if I'm not leading it and providing the value, they're not going to believe in it. but
No, not at all. Right. Like, so
yeah,
like I've been looking for a mastermind for myself for 10 years. I've joined so many,
yeah,
and everyone that says they're a mastermind, it's group coaching. And I want to shoot myself. I don't
okay.
need a coach. Especially I don't need group coaching, because
Hmm.
all these group coaching things are like, oh yeah, you have to be in this certain level. And I jump in and I'm always the biggest. And
Yeah,
I'm like, right. And these are some big names that I've jumped in. And I'm like, no, this is not for me. So what I've always done in ours is it's not the Jason show. Like, and if you asked all the members, they probably like my team and all the other community members way more than me. I just get them in there and I start the conversation
yeah,
rather than here's what I think. And then if they ever want to know what I think, I'll tell them. Right. But it's like, I'm like you, I have no ego. I don't need to take credit for anything. Um, I just want to create a resource I wish I had. And it's worked over the years. And I just wish someone would create one that I could join. So maybe one day.
yeah. Whoever's listening, if you've got a mastermind, you think it's a fit for Jason.
Please, yes, reach out. And please don't use the false urgency shit. Like there was one, someone, I won't mention the name. And they go, oh, you should check it out. So I checked it out. I went there and it said, oh, we have a 2-year wait list. I'm like, oh. I told my team, I was like, either I'm going to get an email a couple hours later or 2 years from now. Got an email a couple hours later.
Yeah,
And the whole calendar was wide open. Hey, we have an open slot. Met with them. Oh, we get over 11,000 applications a year. And oh, do you mind me recording this? I said, sure. Yeah, I don't care. Because our owners will review all of this, and they make the determination if they want to let you in, because this is the most exclusive mastermind ever. I'm like, man. And then I started doing the math in my head. 30 minutes times 11,000. There's no way. Right.
yeah,
So line number one. And then I go, well, how many members do you have? Oh, we started a year ago and we have like 945 members. I'm like, in a year? Like, are you just, I, I can't even get that many people to a single landing page.
I know.
So,
I,
I was laughing my ass off.
I know. So it's like I've seen some of that stuff too, where it's like, yeah, this is what we did in the first years, but it's like they actually don't tell you that they were running a very similar business, almost the same, for 9 years beforehand.
Crashed it.
Yeah,
Yeah. And they were like, oh, this community building is way easier, which
yeah,
when people jump into it, because I've created so much competitors over the years, and I've only respected a couple people, like, like John does a really good job. Brent, so
yeah,
sad that they kind of killed it, but he went to a great company, E2M, which I love.
yeah.
And he's running that now. But I just, it's so funny how all that works. But we're going to go down a rabbit hole I don't want to go down. Is there anything, Nate, I didn't ask you that you think would benefit the listeners listening in?
Well, just one thing is, we just mentioned E2M. They've been a huge part of my growth as well. So that's
Good.
been where we talked about some of the problems with human resources, where it's like, yes, it becomes a challenge. And as you grow, like you have to just really get good at HR. There's no way around it.
Yeah.
People are the key. As you scale, they've taken a little bit of the edge off by allowing us to not have to build out a development team and manage all the development. So that's been huge for us. So we're big time E2M users.
Yeah. And look, they've been a sponsor for years and years, but I want all of you to really think about this. I've recommended them for years and years, and I will never put a sponsor on I don't believe in, but I've recommended them for years and years. I've known them, and I've never heard one bad thing, ever.
Yeah.
I've heard bad things about me, right? Like
They're jealous.
Yeah, they're amazing. I love what they're doing over there. So.
I think the thing is they do right by people, you know?
Yes.
So if you do right by people, and this is kind of one of our core values as well, is like, just do right by people.
Yeah.
And then no one's going to say anything bad about you. Yes, you can make a mistake, but if you do right by people, it's like, all right, fair enough,
Yeah, exactly. Well, awesome. Well, thanks so much, Nate, for coming on the show. And if everyone enjoyed this, and if you guys are looking for a community that really kind of understands you, we are a selective community, but we're an amazing community of, agency owners. We only have 70 members, and they're the most amazing people that are transparent, they're humble, they want to share, and they're a lot of fun to be around. So if you want to check that out, go to Agency Mastery, click on the Mastermind. We'd love to have a conversation, see if it works out for you. And until next time, have a swank day. I hope you enjoyed this content. If you want more content like this, make sure you click on the link on the screen or check out your most popular podcast platform where the full episode is there. And until next time, have a swank day. What are you doing? Go check it out. Click on the link. I'll see you soon.